Our chief reporter, Kaveh Solokol, has come back on set. Kaveh, oh my goodness. How do you react to that?
Well, look, the first thing you should say is that referees are human beings. They make mistakes like everybody else. They were working there in a very highly pressurised environment, and they made a mistake, and it was a big mistake.
Football has always been a game of moments of brilliance, moments of madness, and moments that define seasons. In the modern era, however, those moments are no longer meant to be left entirely to chance or human error. Technology, specifically the video assistant referee VAR, was introduced with a clear promise to protect the integrity of the game by correcting clear and obvious mistakes. That promise rang hollow on the night Arsenal faced Kairat, when VAR confirmed after full time that Arsenal were denied clear penalties, an admission that arrived only once the result was beyond repair. For 90 minutes, Arsenal were locked in a battle that demanded composure, precision, and belief. They pressed high, dominated possession, and repeatedly forced Kairat into desperate defending. Their attacking play carved open spaces, drew fouls, and created moments where the referee's whistle should have pierced the noise of the stadium. Instead, it remained silent. Inside the penalty area, football's most sacred and decisive space, Arsenal attackers were impeded, clipped, and manhandled. One incident saw a defender arrive late, making contact with the man before the ball. Another involved a clear shirt pull that disrupted a shooting opportunity. Perhaps most glaring was a moment when a Kairat defender's arm, extended unnaturally, blocked a dangerous cross. In real time, these moments sparked outrage among players and fans alike. But the modern fan has been conditioned to wait, to trust the process, to believe that VAR would intervene. It didn't. Play continued. Arsenal's protests were waved away. The rhythm of their attack was broken, replaced by frustration and disbelief. Kairat, emboldened by the lack of punishment, defended with increasing aggression, safe in the knowledge that the line of officiating had been drawn and it was generous. Then came the final whistle. Only after the match was concluded did confirmation emerge that VAR officials had reviewed the incidents and acknowledged that Arsenal were indeed denied clear penalties. Not subjective fouls. Not soft decisions. Clear penalties, decisions that, by VAR's own standards, should have been corrected in real time. That admission is not comfort. It is salt in the wound. Because what is the value of truth when it arrives too late to matter? Football is not played in post-match statements or refereeing reports. It is played in real time, where goals change games and decisions shift momentum. A penalty awarded during the match could have altered everything: the scoreline, the tactical approach, the psychological balance. Instead, Arsenal were forced to chase a game shaped by injustice, while Kairat benefited from errors that were later acknowledged but never corrected. This is where VAR's greatest failure lies, not in missing an incident, but in recognizing it and choosing inaction. The emotional and psychological impact of such decisions cannot be overstated. Arsenal's players were asked to maintain focus while being repeatedly denied fairness. Every ignored foul chips away at confidence. Every unpunished infringement sends a message that the rules are being applied selectively. Over time, that frustration manifests in rushed passes, speculative shots, and a loss of clarity in the final third. Against Kairat, those effects were visible. Arsenal's urgency grew, but their precision suffered. The crowd's energy turned from encouragement to anger. The match slipped away, not because Arsenal lacked quality, but because the framework meant to ensure fairness failed them. VAR was never supposed to be perfect, but it was supposed to be decisive. The phrase "clear and obvious error" was meant to be a safety net, a final checkpoint to prevent injustice. Yet time and again, VAR has been reduced to a passive observer, intervening inconsistently and often hiding behind vague explanations. The confirmation after full time that Arsenal were denied penalties raises uncomfortable questions. Why was VAR unwilling to act during the match? Was there hesitation to overrule the on-field referee? Was there fear of controversy, ironically leading to an even bigger one? Or has VAR become so entangled in protocol and caution that it has forgotten its core purpose? For Arsenal supporters, this incident feels painfully familiar. Over recent seasons, the club has found itself repeatedly on the wrong end of officiating controversies. Marginal calls, missed fouls, and delayed apologies have become a recurring theme. While critics may accuse fans of bias, the pattern is difficult to ignore. When similar errors happen again and again, skepticism is no longer paranoia, it is a rational response. What makes this situation particularly damaging is the hollow nature of post-match admissions. Football authorities often issue statements acknowledging mistakes, promising internal reviews and improved standards. But apologies do not restore points. Reviews do not change results. And lessons that do not lead to accountability are meaningless. If a player makes a costly mistake, they risk being dropped. If a manager fails repeatedly, they lose their job. Yet referees and VAR officials operate in a system where consequences are largely invisible. The lack of transparency fuels distrust and deepens the divide between fans and governing bodies. Against Kairat, Arsenal were not asking for favoritism. They were asking for the rules to be applied consistently. Penalties are not gifts, they are punishments for infringements. When those punishments are withheld without justification, the competitive balance of the match is compromised. The timing of VAR's confirmation is perhaps the most damning aspect of all. By admitting the errors only after full time, the system undermined itself. It exposed the gap between what VAR sees and what it is willing to act upon. In doing so, it stripped away the illusion that technology alone guarantees fairness. Football, at its core, is about trust that effort will be rewarded, that rules will be enforced, and that outcomes are decided on merit. Incidents like this erode that trust. They leave players disillusioned, fans cynical, and the game poorer. If VAR is to have a future that commands respect, fundamental changes are needed. Transparency must replace secrecy. VAR audio and explanations should be made public, allowing fans to understand decisions rather than speculate. Officials must be empowered and expected to act decisively when errors are clear. Most importantly, accountability must be more than a buzzword. Until then, matches like Arsenal vs Kairat will continue to serve as grim reminders that the game's biggest injustices are no longer just missed calls, they are missed opportunities to correct them. Arsenal left the pitch knowing what the world would later be told: they were right. But being right after the final whistle is meaningless. Football is about moments, and VAR failed in the moment that mattered most. Arsenal were robbed not just of penalties, but of fairness. And until the system learns to deliver justice when it counts, the game will continue to betray the very principles it claims to protect.